Hey everybody, David Guerra here. Welcome back. It is time for the Leadership Minute, and today I'm going to talk about dealing with ambiguity and uncertainty. Now, ambiguity is something that does not have a single clear meaning, and uncertainty is defined as something that is doubtful or unknown. See the link between both of those two? Now, when it comes to change or the implementation of change, well, ambiguity and uncertainty is a natural byproduct. It always has been, it always will be. And it's usually when it's poorly executed change that you're going to find ambiguity and uncertainty, and they're just going to thrive among that. Because again, someone knows the entire plan, but is not dishing out what is absolutely necessary to execute that plan. Okay? So that's when poorly executed change creates this. And in rare cases, you're going to find ambiguity and uncertainty as a constant throughout the entire process. Because again, someone wants to control, and it's usually somebody that wants to control all aspects of the operation of the change and just release what they feel individuals and departments and groups need to know. And that's not a good way to be. That's not a good way to operate. So, what does a leader do in times like this? Well, they look to get defined answers. They look for clarity and clarifying answers. And obviously, they definitely must communicate. Because if you don't have any of that, then you're just as worse off as those individuals that are holding all the cards but playing half at a time, or just playing one card at a time, and that's not a good way to be. So, even when clear intentions or clear definitions are not communicated, the leader must continue to work through the change, even if it is uncertain or ambiguous. So, how does a leader do this? Well, first off, they establish a workflow. And they maintain that workflow because no matter what, throughout the change, work still has to get done, so it cannot fall to the wayside. There's still some things, hopefully, in the operation and the plan or the change that's being implemented that is still known, and it's constant, and it's a standard. And it might just be those little finite details. However, that's where things start to slow down. But the workflow still has to continue. It has to proceed. The next thing they need to work on is prioritizing that which can be done and that which cannot be done, and until clarity is provided or clarification has been given and ambiguity is gone from that situation. So the leader still has to prioritize A, B, C, and D, and then determine what can be done and when it can be done. And if D can't be done until we have some other answers, then we move to E, F, and G. Now, you as a leader must ensure that everyone involved has a common understanding of what needs to be done and not need to be done, because you don't want to create even more ambiguity and uncertainty. Well, the boss told us to do this, but he didn't tell us why or what was going on. You know what? You're the leader. You need to make sure that ambiguity doesn't grow and uncertainty doesn't fester, because it can and it will. Now, as a leader, and because you're in this fog of ambiguity and uncertainty, there's a greater chance for mistakes and failure to happen. Understand that, know that. As a leader, you're going to find yourself being pulled in all directions. And this is where failures and mistakes happen. This is prime time for that. So as a leader, do not blame the ambiguity or the uncertainty or anyone for those mistakes or failures that you run into. Understand that maybe they themselves don't know, and it's still further up down the line. But again, they are contributing factors. But as a leader, you don't go around blaming. You accept the blame. You accept that there was issues, that there was, because you were still trying to move things along, other things fell by the wayside or happened because, again, you didn't have everything you needed. However, you still took the initiative to make things happen. Now, accept the factor that you did the best you could with the information and the resources you had available. Even if it was just minute, a little vague detail or a vague kind of bit of anything that might have pointed you in this direction, but really they wanted you to go in that direction. Accept the fact that you did the best you could with what you had, and make sure that you got it written down. You know why you took that route. Because again, if you're just going off and wandering around and leading your people, just wandering around the desert, not knowing where you're going, you're just as much in trouble as those that provided that, or lack of information, and had created that vagueness and that ambiguity and that uncertainty. Now, like I said, accept that mistake and own it. Most importantly, use it as a learning tool that ensures that you're not going to repeat that mistake over again. Learn that you're going to have to ask questions, and what kinds of questions, and ask better questions. Because that's the only way you're going to thin out the fog. That's the way you're going to end up with some clarity, and you're going to be able to see through the vagueness, the ambiguity, and the uncertainty. Now, kind of a little something for you to keep in mind. Ambiguity and uncertainty as a leader, it only exists to keep you on your toes. And as a leader, you better know how to lead and succeed while you're dancing on your toes, especially when situations are not clearly defined or structured. So remember that. You've got to step up, you've got to deal with it, and you've got to know how to dance the dance, especially when there's such uncertainty going on. And folks, in this day and age, there's plenty of uncertainty. So, but that shouldn't stop you, that shouldn't hinder you. If anything, it should inspire you. So, this has been the Leadership Minute, dealing with uncertainty and ambiguity. My name is David Guerra. I'll talk to you next time. Have a great week. Talk to you soon.